Step change is a reality for successful businesses. Most businesses go through a process of growing because growth seems to be the desire to grow seems to be embedded in the human spirit. You just don't see companies where somebody gets it to 2 or 3 million and makes enough money and leaves it there. There's something that drives us to grow. So given that growth is a reality in the business environment, and let's take a relatively small company, a $5 million company. In that company, the owner can wear just about all the hats. They can be the leader of marketing and the leader of product development and the leader of customer relationships and the head strategist. And they'll get by with themselves and a good lieutenant. You need somebody to bounce things off of. But now you grow that company and it becomes 7 million and 8 million and 9 million. And there comes a point where that one person can't wear all that hat. So that's actually the first, if you want to think about it, the first step change. And that's the step change where the owner can't wear all the hats anymore. And the good news about step change is it always represents a new opportunity. You've grown to a point. You've grown from 5 million to 10 million, and you've got more customers, and you've got more cash flow, and you've got more opportunity. Usually, if the growth is going to perpetuate itself, what you don't have is enough of the owner to go around. So a step change always involves arriving at a point where we've stretched our existing resources, and it's as true for a $50 million company that's on its way to $100 million. They got to $50 million, and now they're growing into 60 or 65 or 70, and they're doing it by stretching the resources that they have. They're stretching their productive resources. They're stretching their organization chart. They're stretching their R&D capability. And so every step change is arrived at the point where you've stretched what you have just about as much as you can. And why is it a step change instead of a gradual slope? Because when you've reached the point where you've stretched everything you have about as far as you can, you have to invest at a level beyond what the next few $1 million in sales are going to do for you. You're not just going to buy another machine. You're out of places to put them. So you're going to have to put an expansion on your building. Where are you going to put an expansion on your building that will serve a $75 or an $80 million business? So now you've got an investment that needs $80 million worth of sales, or back to our $5 million company, it needs $15 million of sales to justify it, but next year you're only going to have 12. So whether it's that owner who now needs to add another person below them that's going to be a six-figure salary, or that $50 million company that's got to put a $25 million addition and fill it with $10 million worth of equipment, it's the decision that brings us to the point where once again, just as we bet on ourselves when we started the company or when we bought this company, every time you arrive at a step change, you're betting that you're going to be able to take it fully to the next level, because you're going to make investments that are not going to be justified by that small additional increment of sales. It's going to have to be justified by believing you can get to another point 20 or 30% above where you are today. And that's the stopping point for some companies. Some companies, the owners are not, the management team, the board are not comfortable making that next change, because you end up with what we call a desert. Let's take our $10 million company, because it's nice and easy. For many industrial companies, the area between 10 million and 12 million is a desert. You've made the investment in equipment, people, technology, whatever it is you had to invest in, consultants to help you get there. And that investment's relatively high. It's going to suck all the profit out of the company for the next couple of years in the next couple $1 million worth of sales. So you got to get across that desert. You have to get from 10 million to 13-ish to justify all that investment. You got to do that fairly quickly. That standing at the edge of a desert and looking across and not being able to see the trees and water on the other side is kind of nerve-wracking. So we've been able to help people a lot, first by helping them recognize that step change growth exists. And then when we've explained the concept, the light bulb goes off. Secondly, to understand the way you have to approach it. You approach it in a methodical way, and you map out how big do we have to get to justify this? How many years are we going to have to deal with, or months, are we going to have to deal with substandard profitability because of the investment that this is going to take, and it's going to suck up short-term cash and short-term expenses as well as capital investment. What's going to have to be different in the organization, and how many different things are we going to have to do at once? A step change seldom affects just one piece of the organization. New equipment, new technology means additional people. Additional people means more infrastructure. It may even mean a different organizational structure. So the key to step change growth is recognizing when you're there, recognizing the number of things you have to address all at once so that you don't fall back.